I fully intended on making follow-up videos every 3 episodes, but it's hard finding the balance between making videos and surviving, and I literally mean surviving. But when something needs to be done, something needs to be done. It's time for another Ivan sleuthing detective video. The title's in the workshop. Because after watching episode 9, I believe I know who our murderers truly are. Obviously spoilers for Only Murders in the Building season 3 up to episode 9. You have been warned. Before we begin, I wanted to say that I did write a majority of this script for last week's episode 8. However, I just didn't really have enough time to record it. So I decided I would post screenshots of my script to my Instagram at FilmerDude24. And I even have the link to my Google Drive to which you can read for yourself. However, I will be repurposing that script, just updating it to fit with episode 9. I say all this because I wanted to prove to you that I am not pulling all of this out of my butt after watching episode 9, but all of this was a thing before, well before. My proof is in my own pudding, my little filmer dudes. Okay, clarity made. Let's continue. I'm not really sure if I kept this in my original video or not, but I did write in that script that Loretta and Dickie did look at each other quite oddly during her song, and I theorized that there was gonna be something between them. After all, Dickie was already getting Loretta jobs at that time. And I also said that Loretta was going to end up being someone's relative, whether it was gonna be a nanny or a mother or an aunt. I was really leaning into the aunt one, so I'm half correct in this one. She is someone's relative. It just ended up being Dickie, Dickie's mom. Did you see that one coming? I didn't. I should have, but I didn't. And this episode basically confirms that Loretta was and is a red herring the entire time. I told you! But anyway, back to our real killers. Wait just a minute. Ivan, did you just say murderers as in plural? Why, yes, I did. You see, someone left a comment on my last OMITB season 3 video saying 2 words, 2 murders. I asked back, what makes you think this? To which they responded, I may be related to someone on the show? This is huge. I honestly tried to have this person reach out to me and me to them on other social medias to no avail. I really wanted that scoop, but it's fine. At least we know, kind of confirming, that there are going to be 2 murders revealed next week. So, who are our 2 murderers? After episode 9, I am almost convinced that it is not Donna after all. I know, after all this time of saying that it's Donna and Cliff, now I'm saying it's not Donna? Well, I'm saying it's not Donna, Loretta, or Dickie, or Dauber, or any of the people that we thought before. As you can see in my episode 8 script, I theorized it was going to be Donna for the exact reasons that episode 8 had revealed. However, I also think that this episode might have confirmed my new theory also from episode 8, in that the real murderers of Ben Glenroy. My little filmer dudes, it is my pleasure to make the case for Cliff and girl cop / KACEY. Ivan, what the hell? That's right, there are 2 key details in this episode that proves Donna's innocence. Well, sort of. Primarily, do you honestly really believe that OMITB season 3 is going to reveal the killer this early, 1 episode away? So, I theorized that the trio is going to make a very compelling case against Donna, and Cliff, just like Loretta did for Dickie, is going to stand up and say, nay, 'twas I who killed it, because I want to protect my mama. Unless it's revealed that Cliff is framing his mother, which we don't have room for 2 insane theories. So, our murderers of Ben Glenroy are Cliff and KACEY / girl cop, from whom we saw Cliff get a text alerting him that Greg wasn't the killer and that he was being released from jail, opposed to him getting an article just like everyone else in the cast did. He got a text from this mysterious KACEY. But who is this KACEY? I believe that KACEY and girl cop are one and the same in this situation. Cliff tried to poison Ben with the cookie, failed, and KACEY finished the job by pushing him down the elevator, enacting her final revenge and possibly having a final monologue. So why Cliff? Honestly, I think it's because he wanted to save his reputation and his mother's money. It's pretty sprinkle in a little Ben bullying Cliff for a little unnecessary drama llama, and there you go. You got a nice little motor package. So Cliff, already hating Ben, sees the review, sees that Ben is the downfall for his future career and his mama's money, decides to take matters into his own hands by poisoning the cookie that broke Ben's stomach, thus saving himself from any potential embarrassment and saving his mama her money. That's why he was so on board with Death Rattle Dazzle, because he knew that Ben was out of the picture once and for all. But why KACEY/Girl Cop? Like I said in my last theory video and in last week's scripts, I think that Ben Glenroy ruined any chances for KACEY/Girl Cop to become a better actor. I believe that Ben might have actually taken or stolen a role or an audition, or might have taken a new role while filming Girl Cop, canceling his contract, thus canceling Girl Cop, and again, ruining Casey's chance to becoming a better and bigger actor. In any case, Ben did something to Casey, and Casey wants her sweet, sweet revenge. How does she do it? By becoming the baker that bakes the Schmackery's cookies. I think she might be the baker. But how do I know this? Well, in episode 9, when the trio deduces that Donna had poisoned Ben, in their recreation, Donna sees an open-faced cookie, then sees a rat poison, then poisons the cookie, then drops the cookie in Ben's dressing room. However, that's not what happened at all. You see, you guys were correct. Ben was talking to the cookies, and I did think he was talking to the cookies. I just like making outlandish theories to make people both angry and, you know, it's fun to think. But it wasn't Donna who delivered the fatal cookie blow. No, it was indeed Cliff. You see, during Cliff's interview, it is revealed that Cliff delivered the cookies to Ben's dressing room, saying they were specially made by his mother, which is why I'm thinking he might be framing his mom, but that I also think is another red herring. Because again, I think maybe Casey is the one who baked the cookies specifically to murder Ben. But again, who knows? Who knows? However, making Donna the murderer and revealing it this early seems a little too on the nose and a little too much of a safe play for me, little filmer dudes. But she might end up being the one, but I do think that Cliff is going to be the main killer, and it's going to be this Casey individual and or Talbert, but I think it's going to be this Casey individual. So, final suspects other than Donna, because if it is Donna, I'm still going to say I told you so, because I've been saying it was Donna from the very beginning, but if it's Cliff, I'm going to say an even bigger I told you so, because I told you so. But murderer number 1, producer Cliff. Murderer number 2, girl cop Casey. Also, I think I actually broke Only Murders in the Building this time. Mini story time. I was trying to figure out if Talbert was Ben's child. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to figure out his age to see if he was young enough or old enough to be Ben's unclaimed child. So I had to use key details about everyone's personal lives and Brazos to figure out just how old Ben Glenroy is. So let me break it all down for you. In episode 2, when Mabel was talking to Ben's ghost, she mentions that she started watching a lot of Girl Cop after her dad had died, meaning the show had multiple seasons out already and it was already likely to be in syndication. Mabel also mentions in the same scene that she is around 29 years old, and we do know that in the new episode is her birthday. She just turned 30. So that kind of, the 30 thing does mess up my math a little bit, so I'm just gonna try to mentally add like a year. After doing a little bit of research, the internet told me that Mabel's dad died when she was 7. So 30 minus 7 is 23. If Mabel is 30 in 2023, the year the season is premiering, then that means that 23 years ago would have been the year 2000, the year she turned 7, and the year her dad had died. Cool, in 2000, she's watching a lot of Girl Cop at year 7. Well, Ben's ghost, dressed up like his role in Girl Cop, mentions to Mabel that he was 31 years old playing a teenager. This is where things get weird. Ben tells Charles that he was 8 years old when he was going to be on Charles' show Brazos. At least for the sake of Ben's age, we're going to assume that Ben's role was for the first season of Brazos. However, nobody in the real world knows exactly when Brazos was a thing. The only thing we have to go by is that Brazos is considered to be America's top 90 detective. So that means Brazos is a primarily 90s show. I say primarily because we're going to use the Friends logic. Just based on the hit 90s show Friends, which ran from 1994 to 2000, but is still considered to be a 90s show, Friends ran for 10 years, but 6 of those years was in the 90s, therefore, 4 of those seasons was in the early 2000s. According to this Friends logic, for a show to be considered 90s, it needs to run for at least half of that decade, or at least run more in that decade than in another decade. With that being said, Brazos ran for 9 seasons, which means it needs to spend 5 years in the 90s. So if the show were to end in 1995 to meet the 90s requirement, that means Brazos began in 1986. That means the show began in 1986. 1995 minus 9 is 1986. This means Ben had to be 8 years old in 1985, 1 year before the show first season would come out, because that's how long it would take for them to film and edit the show. Which means he was born in 1997, making him to be about 46 years old in 2023, just 8 years younger than Paul's Rudd age of 54. But wait, if he said he was 31 playing a teenager, wouldn't that mean he would have been born earlier, saying that he would have been 31 in 2008 and not 2001 or before? Fair. If that's the case, then let's push back a bit to meet those requirements, shall we? Okay, let's say he's 31 in 2000. Okay, let's say he's 31 in 2000. Girl Cop clearly is a 90s show based off of the music, the style of clothing, and Mabel's age. So going by the Friends logic and making it an educated guess on how long Girl Cop ran opposed to Brazos, I believe Girl Cop ran for about... I believe Girl Cop ran after Brazos ended, about a year or 2 or maybe even 3 years after. And I think it only ran for about 5 seasons, so 5 years, with the final season taking place in 2000-2001, allowing the show to have 3 to 4 seasons in the 90s and 1 to 2 in the 2000s, still qualifying it for a 90s show. So 2000 minus 31 is 1969. So Ben was born in 1969, which means he was meant to be on Brazos 8 years later in 1977, making it an 80s show, not a 90s show. Okay, so we'll just put his age back, I guess, just so that it meets the Brazos requirement, right? But wait, Mabel is 30 in 2023, and Brazos had 9 seasons. Bubba and Kemper, Friends logic, 2001. Look for the line. Brazos. There is no Carol in HR. Conclusion. Wouldn't it be insane if Baz killed Ben?